Hey everyone, welcome back to the Youth and Politics podcast. My name is Cody.
And my name is Carrera, and today we're here with another interview with.
Hello, I'm Ignacio. I'm a history, politics, and religious studies student, and I'm interested in historical modern societies. So hopefully, we're gonna see what the impact of that has been on Labour in their first year in government, and we're just kind of tell what it's been like. So
Yeah, okay, cool. Would you like to walk us through Labour's manifesto as it was proposed in 2024?
yes, obviously they were kind of battling with 14 years and Tories, and so they had to their main kind of idea was the change, and that was kind of presenting a really hard shift, kind of similar to Blair's New Labour back in '97. I mean, their manifesto wasn't exactly like out there, I would say. It was kind of like very low down. They've got like your normal economic stability, NHS, but they have got launched a new border security demand, which kind of presented a shift from Blair's Labour government, in which you kind of had this multicultural kind of open door policy. And so we're seeing a shift there. And that's perhaps kind of the first sign that Labour's taking on policies from other governments, which we're seeing maybe is a coming trend in their new kind of 2025 policies. But mostly it's largely the same, a lot about energy and social behavior, teachers. It's kind of your classic policies. They don't really present like the biggest kind of shift from the norm, to be honest. So
Yeah. And I think even Conservative, the government just before that we had just before Labour, had kind of similar like policies in the
Mm.
sense. I guess they all cover the same topic. There was stuff about the
Yeah.
NHS, the economy,
I think
and green
I think
energy.
as well, like you just covered, is the when the general election was called, Labour didn't have a clear um manifesto. And that was brought up quite a few times, even on like Sky News, BBC News and stuff like that, that no one really knew at first what they were standing for. It was just that word change.
mm,
But I do think it built up a lot of momentum in the British
Yeah.
public because obviously a
yeah.
lot of people wanted to leave the Conservative government after f 15 years. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think whatever Labour said their manifesto was, they were always kind of destined to get that
Mm,
big spike in seats
mm,
because I mean people were angry with Liz Truss, and then Rishi Sunak calls a general election in the rain, and you think we're not getting anywhere with this party.
Yeah.
So I think the idea was always kind of swapped to Labour in 2024. And so they kind of lent on this idea of change. And even with their kind of like placards in the election, I remember seeing it literally just said change on it. So
Yeah.
people were already kind of like, yeah, whatever, let's vote Labour. So they get this massive spike, which I mean, they didn't actually have a lot of the vote share.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it was only about
That's
33%.
That's what I noticed as well, is their vote share was probably I think I did see somewhere it was the lowest vote share in any Labour government so far. It was actually lower than what Jeremy Corbyn got, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it was. I
Yeah.
think he got something around like 40%. I can't remember. I'll have to revise again. So
So it really goes on to that point that like I think the British public was clear that they wanted something different.
Yeah.
And that Labour was clearly the public's choice. Um, but yeah.
yeah, I mean that I think a big thing as well is there was a lot of votes for Lib Dem
Mm,
and a big
Yeah.
kind of decrease in Conservatives. And I think Labour showed they wanted to change, but the people weren't exactly kind of confident in what they had. And I think that linked back to your earlier point of saying that nobody was kind of understanding who Labour wanted to be. And I think still today, like I've been seeing posts from I don't know if you guys follow this channel called Politics Joe, but
oh
I
yeah.
saw they post the thing and it was like somebody called Labour just bland. And I think still that image is kind of coming across, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's a bit like Ed Miliband again, and people don't really know who he is and they don't know what he stands for. And I think they're trying to now find their way into the public, the media with kind of taking policies from other
Yeah.
parties and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's not
I
working.
think like especially for young, I think maybe they're trying to engage more young people and they've started to do that a bit more now, as we've seen with some of their like new policies. We've got vote to 16, which is finally like actually happening, which a lot of people agree with, a lot of people don't agree with.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting actually. But they've got so much stuff now that I think maybe they're bringing it in to help boost their engagement.
Mm.
Do you know what I
What
mean?
do you think about votes for 16? That was obviously just announced.
So I was actually having a conversation with somebody very close to me yesterday. For me, votes for 16 and 17s aren't going to affect me when I get there. But I
Hmm.
don't think that's the point because politics obviously isn't about benefiting yourself. I actually think kind of votes for 16 is going to be big. For me, it represents kind of a step forward for the UK because, you know, we can join the army, we can get married. There's so many things that we can do at 16. So if we can fight for the country, do we not have a say in the country? It's harking
Mm.
back a bit to the American Revolution and kind of like no taxation without representation. But the point really is, I don't think some people would say Labour hasn't done it necessarily kind of for 16 and 17-year-olds benefit and more kind of that of the party because
Hmm.
young people are very open to supporting Labour historically. They get a lot of their vote from the young people. And whether the turnout's going to be great or not for 16s and 17s, I mean, in Austria, it's kind of very low. It's one of the lowest in Europe. And that's what we're kind of going off here. But whether it is low or not, they're still going to get those extra votes. And I think that's what they're hoping for when they implemented the policy, not
Yeah.
necessarily trying to benefit them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I think maybe it was just a ploy to help them
I,
increase their
I think
votes.
it's like for me, it's very a lot of people, especially 16-year-olds I've spoken to, are very unclear. Because a lot of their points that they've raised to me is, for example, there is a lot of things that you can do, but there's a lot of things you can't do as well. For example, for those that are wanting to rent or buy a home or anything like that, or even just get away from their family situations, they can't do that. There's also gaps between like obviously you can't drink, you can't buy alcohol. And now we've obviously seen, which we'll go on to a bit later, the Online Safety Act, which also is a bit like two sides because you allow 16-year-olds more maturity and then you
Then
kind of take something away.
yeah,
Yeah.
So it's very much I want to kind of understand from the government's point of view on like where they want this to go.
yeah,
And actually it'll be very interesting because obviously next gen 2029 we're gonna have the biggest voting turnout this country had probably ever seen.
yeah.
Even if most 16-year-olds still don't go because there'll be a whole generation going to that ballot
Mhm.
box. And it'll be very interesting when they do go to the ballot box, what it will look like
Yeah.
for the first time.
What? Oh, sorry. Sorry, you guys.
No, I was just gonna say, like, we've been to a couple events over the past like week, and we asked people what they thought about votes at 16, and it was actually like quite surprising because quite a few young people
Mm,
were like, "I don't think that's a good idea," and I expected the opposite. I thought people would be quite excited about it, but I think like generally, like the overwhelming response that we got when we asked the public was, are 16-year-olds really like educated enough and
mm.
mature enough to make their own decision and not be swayed by what they're seeing
I
online?
mean, I actually did watch your interviews with those people, so I know what you're speaking about. Well, I think here's the issue, right? People there is obviously going to be some 16-year-olds who aren't educated. I think you guys are both 18, so I think
Oh, I'm
I'm
16.
18.
oh, you're 16.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you're younger
yeah.
than me. Okay. I had no idea. So I think maybe for us, like it's clear there's kind of people here who are educated and willing to get kind of invested in the political system, and there's people who aren't, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be voting.
Mm,
Because it's the same in the adult population. I think people kind of see 16 and 17-year-olds as like this alien race that they have no idea about. But
Anything,
when people aren't interested in politics, they're just not gonna vote most likely, and it's the
mm.
same in I mean, what was the turnout for this year? I think it was like 60% or something.
I think it was
yeah.
60.
Yeah.
Yeah, along those lines, one of the lowest ever. So is 16 and 17-year-olds really gonna make that big of a dent in like the
Mm,
turnout? And actually along with going back to what Labour was doing, they did actually have it in their manifesto because I remember seeing it and
mhm.
thinking, fantastic. It's not going to affect me, but that's fantastic, and I'm ready for it. Um, but I actually think they've kind of messed themselves up with this policy a little bit because there is this growing kind of resentment for
Mhm,
Labour, and I think especially emphasised with the Online Safety Act,
mhm,
people are kind of starting to look at other parties. And I think one of the, well, I know quite a lot of people who look to Green in the election.
Yes.
mhm.
And now, I mean, if you look at your party, they've started off with 300,000 signups. I mean,
Mhm.
that is monumental. Jeremy
Yeah.
Corbyn said 500 a minute in the first 24 hours. And it's like, how can Labour compete with a party
Yeah.
full of 16 and 17-year-olds
Yeah.
aiming for them.
Yeah.
Also think because obviously the rise in your party has just obviously came out with Jeremy Corbyn and stuff like that. I was actually on a Zoom call with him the other day to hear about his new launch,
Oh wow.
etc.
Oh
And
cool.
the difference actually I found was a lot of people are thinking these are members. They're not actually members of the party yet because to be a member in any political party in this country, how it was laid out was you have to be a paid member.
Mhm.
And Jeremy Corbyn and Zara has not actually done that. They've just done an emailing list, which actually, on a statistic, I think it was about 10% of those are actually just same people, just different emails.
Oh really?
Yeah, so actually, it isn't. I mean, I think what they should do is if they, when they do make a paid, announce what the actual membership will be,
Yeah.
because a membership's what you pay for, not an emailing list.
Yeah.
But I do think, like you just said, the rise in the support for it is
Yeah.
like mental. I think like this was true. Jeremy Corbyn, when he was leader of the Labour Party, he had the biggest membership
Yeah.
of the Labour Party,
Yeah.
and
Maybe it's just Jeremy Corbyn, guys.
Yeah.
It's just
I think
Jeremy
he's popular
Corbyn.
with kind of the youth because he has very kind of good
yeah,
policies on education. I
Yeah.
can't remember exactly, but I think he had something about free tuition at university, and I
Mm.
think that was
He says what young
inspiring.
people want. It's a bit like
Yeah.
obviously we're gonna go on to it is the rise in reform, but Nigel Farage says what adults want to hear.
Here.
Jeremy Corbyn saying what young people want to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference, I think.
Well, oh, sorry. Do you want to go?
Okay.
Yeah.
I do think it's quite interesting though, because I think a lot of Labour's new policies have either been finalised or they're coming out
Mm.
as your party is increasing.
Mm.
So obviously, Vote to 16 came out kind of similar timing to when your party was rising.
Yeah.
And then now we've got the Online Safety Act, which is also coming into play as your party is rising.
Well, it's already here.
It's yeah, it's like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like the whole like the timing of everything just kind of baffles me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, hold on, I've got to tackle with 2 points at once now. Let me just with yours, first of all, with Reform UK kind of pandering to adults. I mean, personally, I'm still in education, obviously, because I'm not 18 yet. And you kind of see Reform UK's effect on the youth
Yeah.
already entering. Like, I don't think they're necessarily just for adults. I think they know what they're doing
Yeah.
and they know how to get kind of children and adults aboard. Well, I say children, young adults. So, I mean, just with their manifesto, they talked quite a lot about education and kind of bringing back a sense of, I think they said British values. And a lot of their education policies I remember seeing were kind of getting rid of the woke mind virus, as Elon Musk would put it. And it's kind of, I think a lot of young people do feel kind of disillusioned maybe with a growing kind of wokeness. And yeah, so I think Reform UK have kind of put that on. And I think a lot with the Online Safety Act as well, people are just feeling more and more kind of disenfranchised with Labour, and it's getting to them a little bit, I think.
I
1000%.
think because obviously online safety acts came up a few times. What it actually
Talk
is.
about it.
Yeah, let's talk
about
So,
it.
so what it actually is, I think a lot of people didn't understand the difference. Is this bill was passed? I mean, it was talked about for years and years that it needed reformed, and the Conservative government under I believe it was Theresa May, they did re get it done, and it was passed through as a bill. And it only just because bills take a while to get actually in place. So it just went through when this Labour government came into power, and a lot of people do argue is because Keir Starmer said the other day that it was the Tories it went through, but actually a lot of people saying, but when they came into government, they scrapped whatever bill they didn't like. Well, why didn't they scrap this?
Yeah.
So it's more. I mean, obviously it's political football, really. They're just kicking it around.
Well, I mean, they got rid of Rwanda
Yeah.
quick, so
Yeah.
I don't see why they couldn't have kind
Done
of.
something
Yeah.
with it as
And
well, yeah.
they seem in support of it as well, because forgive me, I can't remember his name, but he posted a tweet, I think it was, and he was like, if you don't support the Online Safety Act, you're like a pervert or whatever, like you're on the side of perverts. And it's like, well, I mean, did you just call your entire voting like audience
Pervert.
perverts? Like, and even Nigel Farage was calling for an apology. And you know, when you kind of, like that's a sign that you've done something really, really bad. Um, so I think the Online Safety Act is probably one of the biggest blunders this government has made. I mean, some people would think that. And I think the issue really is that people weren't looking for that when they talked about a stronger kind of justice system.
Mm.
People weren't looking for more arrests, like based on online things. Yes, we should be keeping harassment down, and that's extremely important. But people weren't looking for this kind of like justice. This is, I mean, some people would think it's like blatant censorship.
Yeah.
And
I think, like you said, is the British public are looking for more like actual justice that actually affects daily. Like, I mean, obviously this is very important, and it affects so many people, especially women and girls. We've seen that it is proven that violence against women and girls is caused by
mm,
obviously why this is being brought about. Like I believe there was a young girl that actually committed
Yeah.
suicide due to this, and this is why the bill was put forward. And that is a very important thing for young people's mental health online, etc.
mm,
But I think a lot of people do want to see like safer streets, safer like communities. When you walk down the street, you want to actually feel safe,
yeah.
not like be like cuddled around yourself, like
Yeah.
worried, looking behind you.
And we live in Milton Keynes, so it's even more important over here.
I think people want like you're talking about people wanting justice. I think people wanting justice not only nationally but internationally as well. With all the conflict that's happening, I think so many young people and just people in general didn't want
Yeah,
online justice, which is obviously like it's important. I'm not
Yeah.
going to say it's
yeah,
not like online safety isn't important. It is definitely important, but that's not what people were looking for when they voted Labour in, I
mm,
think.
Like, yeah, I mean, like people get trolls online, and nobody was saying, "Please, Keir Starmer, please get the troll that was attacking me on Twitter." There's a lot going on in the world. I mean, there's conflicts in Ukraine, in places like the Mediterranean. There's quite a few going on there, and it's people were looking for justice, and you can see it in your party, and it was included in the Labour manifesto. I think I don't know whether to get into it too much, but there was Keir Starmer did kind of want Israel not to besiege or what did he say, blockade Gaza, and that was his manifesto kind of policy before he was going up to the
hmm
election, and he came in, and we're still seeing supplies. Sorry, we're still seeing supplies being given about 320, I think I saw that only 30 have been suspended. But now we're kind of seeing that recognition growing. And I know locally MPs like Emily Darlington have signed for that recognition of Palestine as a state. And people are looking for that because your Labour, they have actually kind of really gone off on that point. Like I think Palestine is a big it's a big policy for them. It was the second one in their manifesto. And you know when a foreign policy is second on your manifesto that it's a big kind of thing because nobody puts foreign policy at a
That high
yeah, it
level.
was right
yeah,
below NHS, and then you're thinking, oh, something's going wrong here. So people are looking for justice, and whether the Online Safety Act is that justice
Yeah.
is tricky.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think going on to that is like obviously you mentioned about the MPs that have been suspended by the Prime Minister. What do you actually think about that? Because obviously he started off with a very big majority. He's now like obviously suspended. I think it was about 30-25.
yeah,
For because their recent PMQs, I watched it. A lot of the MPs went, the backbenchers went against him and his front bench. And obviously, if you do that, the party whip suspends you. So what do you? I'll let you
So
drink.
hydrate first, guys.
sorry,
Hydrate.
getting ready. So I mean, let's take a look back to Theresa and Boris Johnson. Theresa, she had a very kind of open cabinet. She was willing to kind of have a big party in there. Whether that helped her out, that's for history to tell and not for me. Boris Johnson, he came in and quickly kind of shooed them away to get through with his Brexit policy. And Labour, I mean, do they have any big policies that kind of require what Boris Johnson did? And I mean, they're seeing a very big kind of the problem that Starmer's got is I think some people would say he's being a bit kind of led on by his cabinet. And so he really does rely on the support of his party. And when he has to take such a kind of Well, his stance on Israel-Palestine has kind of been choppy-changey a little bit. Recently, now it's kind of solidified on Palestine, and Israel needs to stop kind of sieging, need to agree to a ceasefire, and it's been kind of stark, and that's what people were looking for. But before, it's been kind of wavering, and I think his cabinet is, well, his party in general is kind of going against him a little bit, but also a lot of them are backing him up, and there's this kind of divide on what's going to happen with him. And so I think what he did maybe might have been the best choice for his party. It might have been the best choice for him and securing his power in parliament. Whether it's the best for making him look good in the media
Mm. I
is another question.
I do think I don't know why, but I don't think he is that bothered about looking that strong leadership as because I watched a video the other day where like he obviously said it like he said this I think he was talking about it was when the riots was going on in Southport and he said the door is open and you can leave and I think
Yeah.
that statement as well as the young people it's like well you just don't care that much you're just saying you can leave if you don't
Yeah.
like what we're doing
Yeah.
and I think if you do look back at historic, like I won't go too much into it, historic parties and stuff in other countries, it does give off that similar vibe. Like
Mm.
Yeah.
you're in control. If you don't like what we're doing, leave. Um, but I feel like that's what this party is up to.
Which is what Zara said, to be fair. Like Zara Sultana, she
Yeah,
in the recent interview that she did, she said if like she said the quote you
yeah,
said, and that's what she did. Her and Jeremy left,
mm,
got their own thing now. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So like people are taking action on it as a result of what
I mean, if you
Keir
tell people to leave, they're going.
they're gonna
They're gonna
leave.
leave. They're gonna walk straight out that door. So
Exactly.
But going on to obviously reform. So
yes.
we've seen a massive
Talk about
rise.
this.
We've seen a massive rise in Reform UK, which was established in 2018 after the Brexit Party, which basically is the
Oh,
Brexit
really?
Party.
Is it that old?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was
So
a whole thing, like with Brexit.
so
I thought it
basic.
was UKIP.
No,
No.
so yeah, so UKIP and then Brexit happened, and then they were like, we're gonna rebrand. We
Oh,
got
right,
So
yeah.
Reform.
basically, the Reform Party was started. Obviously, it started as UKIP, Nigel Farage, and then obviously when the riot, the infighting started up, and he left.
Yeah.
And then it became the Brexit Party, and he came back, and then obviously he then wanted to retire from politics. Great, so he did. I mean, not great. So he then left, and then obviously the Brexit Party together formed Reform. So the Brexit Party is Reform,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which and then Reform was officially announced in 2018. Nigel Farage then returned in 2024. I don't know if anyone saw his video about him coming out
I think I've seen probably all of
yeah.
them. So
So
they're
he
everywhere.
so he returned to politics and became the leader of Reform from Richard Tice. He took over from him. And they won 5 seats in general election. A bit of a big voting.
Yeah, they had over 4 million votes.
I
Yes.
mean,
Like,
they seem to hate like self-identifying in their manifesto, but they seem to go through quite a few
yeah.
themselves. Like,
So I think when Nigel Farage announced that, it was very, very big for the party. I'm not gonna lie. I think this, I mean, obviously, like I watched a video the other day. He has never been a member of parliament, but
no.
he's the most recognized politician in this country, but never been an MP.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, Nigel Farage is some people would say that Nigel Farage is a bit of kind of a stir of the pot. I mean, coming as a person from Europe, well, not from it, I was born here, so but you know that kind of heritage, and UK has a very big tie with Europe. I mean, we have forever been a close partner of Europe. Our main kind of prestige is the fact that we are like a European country, and we've held that for a long time. Whether that was the best idea to hold or not is another story for another time. But he his kind of actions in the European Parliament were questionable, some would say, and like specifically waving the kind of UK flags at the Parliament. It's
Mm.
like, did you really do the best kind of for England's relationship
Yeah.
with Europe? I mean, we're going through a tough time with Brexit, and you can see Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves trying to make that back up,
Yes.
and it's
Mm.
like, do we really want him running the government? I mean, some people would say he's kind of a little bit for lack of a more formal word, cocky in some
Mm.
respects. So, is that what Reform UK is trying to go
Yeah.
for,
I
or
think
Never.
like I watched their because they've just announced the campaign Britain is lawless campaign. I don't know
Yeah,
if anyone's seen that.
A
And
tad.
and they're going around like there's a Westminster Reform City Councillor that went in Hyde Park and actually like they've been like they chase people that have stolen things and stuff. So they're really trying to actually get in there. They went up to Steve Khan, the Mayor of London, in public and tried questioning him and stuff like that. So they're really trying to actually be activists.
it's quite radical,
But
I
I mean,
think.
you saw that with Robert Jenrick, Conservative MP, who went into the tube station and just confronted those that didn't pay and
Yeah.
like watched them basically make fun of those that are paying, which is
Do they know how expensive the tube is?
yeah, yeah, like
Okay for you guys.
like £5.
Yeah.
But for those that I think it's more about that isn't what a lot of public want. But then again,
Yeah.
I do think it's for both sides. I think a lot of public that do want this, the radical change and actually going out in the public and doing things. So think a lot of public support this, and then obviously a lot of the public that think is there other ways of doing this?
Yeah, I think the supporters of reform see it as, yeah, this is the right thing to do. And then obviously people that don't, that I think they're way more critical of what reform's doing. And I think like I don't know how to say this, guys, but like
Some people would say.
some people would say, yeah. I do think like some people just want radical change, like you're saying, because that's what reform is offering them. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
reform is it's like going out for people that probably feel like they don't belong or they don't have a place to go. And it sticks out to them and they want that radical change because
Yeah.
that's kind of what they're craving, I guess.
I mean, it's not like, sorry, the history side of me is going to come out.
Go on.
It's not a new thing. I mean, we saw, please don't ask me what the name of the guy is. But there was a fascist party back when some man in Germany was around in the UK and they gained quite a lot of support. I'm not saying Reform UK is fascist in any way, by the way. I'm just saying that was a radical change and a lot of people supported it. And nowadays, our idea of radical has very much kind of dimmed down. We're not in the same kind of fascist communist kind of battle that we were. And our idea of radical is just maybe a more kind of right wing party. And so Reform UK is representing that same radical change, not in the exact degree, but they kind of show that society is coming for that change, and they're just kind of the conduit of that change. I think it was going to happen, whatever. Like there was always space for those people to rise, and we're in that stage. History repeats itself. We're in that stage now where kind of Reform UK, I think, I mean, they were polled to have 290 seats in the next election. That is
They
insane.
are predicted to be the next UK government, I believe.
Do they even have 290 MPs?
No, I think for the next generation.
By
Yeah.
2029.
Yeah, but then again, we may see like right now it's a seven horse race between all the parties, and even then we may have more parties. People are saying we could
Yeah.
have up to like at least 10 by 2029
That's just insane.
because people want what I've noticed now is people just want that constant momentum into and when like reform's momentum's kind of still there.
I think reform's momentum has been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think out of if
I
you
think
look at all the
I
parties,
think
they've been
in
really
I think in
consistent.
our democracy, what I love about it is everyone just respects everything, and I think that's really key. Like if so many people vote for that, then you can't argue with the public.
Well,
I was gonna say, that being said, people still like,
do
I
you
think,
guys remember the petition that was
Yeah.
made
Oh,
when,
yeah.
when Keir Starmer got
Yeah.
in? 3 million votes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's more than the Online Safety Act, and suddenly everybody was united by the Online Safety Act. So imagine how many voted for that petition.
Yeah.
I think the petitions, like if we're going on to petitions actually, which is a very key
Talk
topic.
about it.
About it.
I think like the Labour government, like I have seen. I mean, to be fair, I don't really get the idea of petitions personally. I think young people are very confused on them because me and my friend tried setting one up, and like they're very actually hard to actually get anything.
Oh my God, it takes forever to sign one. Like
Yeah.
it's like share this with a friend.
Well-
Just let me sign the petition.
Line the
Yeah.
petition, send it to 10 people.
But also like the online safety petition that had like I think it was over 1 million. I'm just gonna say so I'm right. But
I think
like,
it was 377,000.
oh, that was quite small.
Banging
but-
number.
But yeah, so that number was still, I think there's still much that the government had to respond because if you get a certain number, the government responds, and they just put actually we're not going to respond. So I think
Yeah, they just sent a copy paste response.
yeah,
So
I think it really does show like when you actually look back out of pies, is the Labour Party now being that dictatory type party that just goes,
Mm.
actually, we're gonna say what we want.
Yeah.
You don't like it.
It's kind of like I don't know if this is the right word for it. I could be wrong. Like performative democracy.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of like you've got the idea that actually no, like you can vote, like
Yeah.
you can do this, that's fine. But then when it actually comes to it,
Mm.
are you following your democratic like thing? Like are you actually doing what you're saying you're
A bit like
doing?
the Green Party. Like
Mm.
they're there and they have some good policies because I looked at their manifesto yesterday. But then when you vote for them, it's like, did I really make a difference?
Yeah.
Like,
Mm.
have they done anything? I think petitions kind of show the government, oh, there's something here, and people kind of want the change here, and then they're just like, okay,
Okay.
next, like,
Yeah.
we don't care. So it's before it was conservatives, why aren't you listening to young people? Like Rishi Sunak kind of
Mm.
wanted that military service, and I was
Mhm.
absolutely like quaking in my boots. Like I was like, please,
Don't do
like
this to
God
me.
no. And so it was kind of like, oh, why aren't they listening to the youth? And now it's like, well, why aren't you listening to anybody?
Mm.
Like there's a big,
Yeah.
a big, big difference in
Yeah.
who's asking for their voice to be heard now.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Well,
Definitely
a quick
healthy.
question before we end. What political party do you think will be in government by
Oh,
2029?
that is probably
Should we all
the
go around the
hard
table?
question. Yeah.
I'm going last. I need to
I'll
think
start.
about
I'll
this.
start.
You start.
I honestly believe Reform UK will be the government in
Really?
2029.
Okay.
Um, I think it will be a coalition, and I think it will
Hmm.
be Reform UK and their arch nemesis Conservatives.
I was
Yeah.
thinking that. I was
Yeah.
actually thinking because I was like, I don't think Reform could do it by themselves.
Mm.
But I think if
No.
they had the backing of the Conservative Party,
Yes.
it could happen.
If the
But
Conservative
then again,
Party
that
even remains.
If they
that
exist.
that could be all said about Labour and Lib Dems if
Yeah.
they ever. But
Ooh,
yes, nice.
Yeah.
So
nice.
thank you for all that tuned
Thank
in.
you.
That's all right. That was really
Thank
fun.
you.
So I enjoyed that. Yeah, it
That
was
was
really
great.
good.
I love that conversation. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you next time.